So the QAP is broken into 7 sections along with schedules that further describe some of the requirements. So section 2, I do want to point out the housing goals that IHCDA had in providing longer periods of affordability to the list of IHCDA state housing goals. This is, you'll see several examples of this throughout the changes. Under section 4, set aside categories, we made mostly clarifications and revisions to help us better explain the requirements of what we're looking for. One area I do want to highlight is section 4.5, housing first. In this set aside, we removed the requirement in this set aside that there only be 100% supportive housing projects that can be set aside. Integrated supportive housing projects are also now eligible to compete in this set aside, so it's open to both types of projects. And we did this because the pool that listed 100% tax on supportive housing applications was very small at this point. We want to open it up to more in this category, especially projects that go through the institute, ensure they have access to funding if the project presents to us. I will move ahead to section 5, threshold requirements. So overall here, really what we are trying to do is better describe what is needed. So a lot of clarifications, things that we adjusted to line up with industry standards and best practices, and also to simplify things where possible based on feedback we had or areas of confusion in prior application rounds. So it's a pretty detailed list, but I do want to jump ahead to section 5, development implementations. We are proposing in the QAP to increase the development implementation by 7% and run into the year 25. So the reason that we did this is we oftentimes hear from developers, we did this commentary that IHCDA development fees are lower than my source. And we had that walking decided to see we had members that are underwriting guidance to 600.
There's a delay from his voice and the speakers projecting everything. There's a sync between the mics and the speakers.
Was the 5th highest average score. So not the lowest, but on the lower.
I think it's the click through. So the next time we won't be able to see him. This is the first time we've done this like this.
The rationale for that was tying into the pricing this between the 720 and 720 was also one of the recommendations we had from our partners. So this puts us, I think, closer to the middle, certainly competitive. We felt it was justified at this point to have an increase in development fee. The other component of that relates to the cap. So we have a cap 5.3B also mentions a $1,380,000 cap on 9% development. So those developments, development fees determined by the number of units that you produce. So that's the incentive. The more units you develop, the more you return. But we had to post it at the higher end. So this could help projects that are higher, have higher numbers of units that were constrained by that now.
I don't know.
Utilize that. Just 2 more items of threshold I want to point out in section 5.4I, smoke-free housing. You wanted this to be a new threshold requirement in our QAP.
In theory.
This was formerly sworn categories that was introduced a few years ago.
In theory.
But
I mean, it didn't echo before. So it's like it didn't start echoing until he got on there, from what I understand.
A good practice to mandate that it's already.
But he's,
Because many of the projects are moving to policy. Also, 5.6 fair housing market.
Probably would stop echoing, but
just to summarize briefly what this is, the plan together. The plan itself wanted to make respect to market availability of housing opportunities, individuals, both minority and non-minority groups that may be least likely to apply projects. So again, we believe this is a good policy to make and make this a standard requirement in all tax credit projects. Jumping ahead to score, there's a couple of points here to highlight. Section 6.1A, the registrations, we added a 20-point category, so this is formally maxed at 16 points. We added a 20-point for committing to a lower performance or deeper rent target. So this is consistent with our dedication to deeper affordability. It's an option that it's not a stretch, but that's the idea behind it in order to offer more units typically at 3% line rent to be level. 6.1C, owners paid utilities is also a new category we're proposing to incentivize owners to pay utilities. Again, this is designed to help pass along additional affordability to the tenants. And 6.1D, additional years of affordability. A new scoring category incentivizing and admitting to beyond federally minimum 30 years compassionate program. The project received points into longer periods, that being either 35 years or 5 years. And then jumping down to 6.2J, federally assisted revitalization award. I did want to mention that we are recommending to remove the HUD designated common zone program as one of the qualifying programs in this scoring category. The reason we are doing this is we looked at our data, we've seen that both common zones in Evansville and Indianapolis had already exceeded their housing goals that they stated in the original common zone plan that they submitted HUD back in 2016. This was done through IHCDA investments alone. So we noticed that this had served its purpose over the last 5 or 6 years. There's no longer specifically have this as a category that received points. Then the last items on scoring I'll mention, or actually not quite the last, but opportunity index 6.3D, highlighting that we are changing some of the ways that we look at data for high income, low poverty, moving from a census tract level rather to a county level, having precise data. And also adding a new factor in our opportunity index for census tracts with life expectancy on 77.4 years. This is consistent with a tradition with having a health and relative opportunity index. 6.4G, leveraging the Ready for Help program, new scoring category that we adding to the QAP. If the funding enhances the development by reducing that practice and ask for other resources. So these are two new state initiatives that we feel work well in tandem with the credits and for the category of 6.5B, MBEWBE, we increased from 4 to 5 points possible for those projects that partner with those qualifying organizations. And this also, as the point out, was a recommendation that specifically also came from NHG, the study that did for us to incentivize having additional incentives to partner with these organizations. And the last section on scoring to mention is 6.5E, resident services. As this was a pretty significant overhaul that we made to the QAP, basically updating this category by adding new options and separating into new service categories. We have to do that in NHG and partners on categories that really gives a health, wellness, financial capability, workforce development, education, resident engagement, and that's services. So we added that, increased the scoring category, and also added a section under resident services where an owner, management agent, or a third-party contracted company gets what's called a core certification that's designed to help with resident engagement. A project can receive points that commit to having that certification being continued to be renewed. And then also resident services adding a point category for projects that have a resident service coordinator that's going to dedicate at least 20 hours a week to the property. The scoring category is available to those projects that are in the housing first set aside or being supported housing points. So that's a high level recap of some of the scoring items that represent some pretty exciting and new changes to the QAP. Under miscellaneous, the only thing I will mention in section 7 is that we did finalize the application round dates. So 9% applications at the end of July with the recommendations made in the November board meeting, which is the calendar that time that we've used now for the last 3 or 4 years, so saying that. And then on schedules, I won't highlight any specifically, but did want to mention that these were primarily clarifications that we made. This is smaller level changes in response to common issues or challenges that we had seen under the current guidelines. So with that, I will pause and I'd be happy to answer any questions or discuss anything I did not specifically address yet.
Board, do you have any questions for Alan? Yeah. I'm just curious what prompted the change of the definition of large cities cost in April.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is one that we had not adjusted probably in the last 10 or 11 years. We looked at kind of how accurate those still were. If any of the categories were too small, too refined. We just want to make an adjustment. I think we've seen that when we looked at all of those together, just adjusting based on current population and trying to make it, I guess, as even as you can, knowing that there's going to be some of that the dark city is obviously going to be the smallest, but expanding that a little bit, just start to even things out. Is our approach to that.
Any questions?
So having the consultant seem to bring out, I assume it was net positive, having them involved.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was very helpful for us because we had not done something like that before. And I think oftentimes as our committee looks at our QAP, we have our own kind of impressions and understandings, but having an outside perspective and having a company that then has the context of looking at QAPs around the state really, I think, helped solidify or validate some thoughts that we had, but also point out some things that we had thought of, areas that we could look at potential changes. So I'd say it was very valuable in continuing to, even though that particular contract with NHG is done, I think we have a fortunate relationship with that. They demonstrate that they certainly have great advice, I think, also perspective around on best practices.
So do you think it'll continue yearly, or you think somewhere every year?
Yeah, I don't think we plan to renew it. I think it's the first time we've done it. There's no plan to continue that, but because I think the level of detail and insight we received is, I think, will be open to the future.
Is Andy still on?
Yeah, he can still hear us. We're good. Yeah.
All right, now I think we are ready for your resolution.
Yes, right before I read the resolution, no, I do want to acknowledge really a team of members that spent many hours together. So in addition to myself, Matt River, Peter Nelson, Stephen Enns, Jerry Bain, Sid Street, and Megan Bowman, really just to acknowledge many hours spent together to get to this point today. So with that, I'll go ahead and read the resolution. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolve the board approve the 2023-2024 qualified allocation plan and submission to Governor Eric Holcomb as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us, so we'll entertain a motion. So moved. Thank you. A second? Thank you. We'll now take a roll call. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell. Aye. J. June Midkiff. Aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Thank you, Andy. Hearing no opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Alan. Alan, you have another presentation regarding affordable assisted living bond round recommendation.
Yes, thank you. So my second memo today is in regards to the affordable assisted living bond round that we conducted. So much background on this. Utilizing the tax exempt bonds and 4% tax credits has become a common financing tool that we've seen in developing affordable housing to have assisted living components through the tax credit program. Since 2014, IHCDA has funded over 20 of these developments using this financing model. After that many being developed, with the concern of markets becoming now somewhat saturated and also developers competing to be the first in new markets, we wanted to release a policy that would change how we do the affordable assisted living. So on May 12th of 2021, we released a policy to developers seeking tax exempt bonds and 4% credits to finance tax credit developments under the 2022 QAP. So the policy, we announced that we now utilize a competitive process, accepting all of these applications at once, and funding the highest scoring applications based on evaluation criteria in the 2022 QAP and some additional standards that we defined in the policy. IHCDA dedicated up to $105 million in bond volume with a maximum of $35 million per deal. The application to the IHCDA November 1st of 2021. On the first, we received two applications, two that are listed here. Vita of New Whiteland developer, Vita Investment Holdings LLC. And also, the same developer submitted Vita of Greenfield, both projects. One project is 100 light tech units, the other 92 market units as well. So both of these developments will be newly constructed mixed income housing that will offer assisted living services to seniors age 62 and older. They will partner with Priority Life Care to provide those services. These services are the typical services you see in affordable living. They include assistance with bathing and grooming, medication delivery, monitors, transportation, housekeeping, and other areas that give assistance in daily living needs. Additional information on each development can be found in development summary sheets attached to the stay exhibit. During the round, the real estate staff reviewed the application to assure it met the criteria of the 2022 QIP. And once it determined that it did, we got to a point where we were able to recommend both applications for funding, VW Wyland and VW Greenfield, at the amounts that they had requested. Be happy to take any questions.
Board, do you have any questions for Alan?
Were these the only two that?
Yes, these are the ones that applied.
Okay, Alan, I think we are ready for your resolution.
Okay, I have two. Was every one?
Take the votes together.
Okay. The staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolutions. Resolve that the board approve awarding $21,407,101 and bond value of $864,236 in annual tax credits to Vita and New Whiteland LLC for Vita and New Whiteland according to the terms of the 2021 Affordable System Bond application as recommended by staff. Also resolve that the board approve awarding $21,579,202 in bond value of $799,296 in annual tax credits to Vita Greenfield LLC. Vita Greenfield appointment terms of the 2021 Affordable System Assisted Living Bond application as recommended by staff.
Excellent. Two recommendations before us. Motion.
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve both resolutions.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Mark Pascarella, second.
Thank you. I will now conduct a roll call for both recommendations. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell.
Aye.
J. June Midkiff. Aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
I heard an aye from Andy. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Did we get you again?
Yes, two more.
Excellent.
There are other people like this.
Alan Burkowski will provide his monthly update on tax program policy and delegated authority.
Yes, thank you. So this is the monthly TCAP award update, which we've been providing to the board since the delegated authority IHCDA in September to make allocations to TCAP awards. The following awards are made after the finalization of February's board meeting agenda. This brings the total number of deals to totaling $4,842,411 TCAP funding. So those projects are Bellevue, New Albany, Riverside Commons, Deal of Plaza, Plymouth, in Madison, Lawson, Portville. Each of these were worth a maximum of $500,000. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, hearing none, thank you, Alan. We can move to your next item.
Yes.
Alan will present a recommendation regarding the extension of tax policy and delegated authority.
Yes, thank you. So on this one, as indicated in the previous memo, at the September 23rd board meeting, IHCDA received delegated authority to allocate the $20 million in TCAP that had set aside for projects that were experiencing cost increases that had tax credits. The TCAP policy is set to expire on March 31st of this month. So therefore, today, staff recommends that the board approve an extension and amendment of the TCAP policy and delegated authority through September 30th, 2022, provided that the board is informed of all awards made. Also in your packet, if you refer to Exhibit A, the only amendment that we're making to the TCAP policy is to allow projects that receive a tax credit allocation for calendar year 2022 to be eligible to apply. When the policy was originally submitted, we had not yet made tax credit limits. Furthermore, we've updated TCAP policy to indicate how much is left to give our partners an idea of the volume of funding that remains available through September 30th until the funding runs out, whichever comes first. So we're requesting the extension and amendment of the policy today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Board, do you have any questions for Alan? We will take both of these recommendations together again. Alan, present your resolution?
Yes, staff respectfully request the board approve the following, pass the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approves the amended CCAP policy in described in Exhibit A. Resolved that the board authorizes IHCDA's Deputy Executive Director, Chief Real Estate Development Officer to take all necessary actions to distribute additional allocations of CCAP to lifetime properties negatively impacted by cost increases, provided that the board is informed of all awards made monthly as recommended by staff.
Thank you. Board, we have 2 recommendations before us. I will entertain a motion.
Andy Place, motion for approval.
Thank you, Andy. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
June makes it second.
Thank you. We will now take a roll call. Valentine Chair, aye. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell,
Aye.
J. June Midkiff,
Aye.
Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Please welcome Peter Nelson to present a recommendation regarding National Housing Trust Fund and Development Fund gap policies and delegated authority.
Good morning, board. I'm trying to find the level thing for my water. Pardon me there. I am Peter Nelson. I'm the Home and Housing Trust Fund Manager here at the agency. I am here today to recommend a very similar policy extension to what Alan just talked about. These are for our National Housing Trust Fund and Development Fund gap policies. Just as a little background, we initially released a draft on these policies in October, putting them out for public comment. Took public comment for a couple of weeks. Didn't receive too many comments on these, so pretty much a draft policy became the final policy, which was approved by this board on November 18th. So the policy is very similar to the TCAP in awarding gap financing to housing trust fund and home developments that are experiencing gaps due to COVID. You can see the policies, the housing trust fund in Exhibit A. Really, the only change to that, the only amendment to that is extending the deadline. Similarly, this, if no action is taken, this policy will expire on March 31st. So the extension is to September 30th of this year. And that is really the only change to the housing trust fund policy. On Exhibit B, you will see the home extended policy, which is putting additional of our development fund into these home awards. The 2 changes made to this policy, one is allowing program year 2020 home awards to be able to come in and access these funds. Those awards were made in August of last year. The 2020 program year home awards were, so that'll add about a dozen or so projects that will now be eligible that we've heard from the recipients of those funds that they could surely benefit from this gap financing. And then the other change similarly is the extension to September 30th as the deadline of this award. So staff is recommending the extension and amendment of both of these policies. And I'm happy to take any questions a little deeper into the policies if anybody has any questions on them.
Board, do you have questions for Peter? Hearing none, I think we're ready for your resolution.
And I'll, unless anyone objects, read all 3 together.
Please do.
Great, thank you. Staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approve the amended and extended National Housing Trust Fund policy as described in Exhibit A. Resolved that the board approve the amended and extended Indiana Affordable Housing and Community Development Fund policy as described in Exhibit B. And resolved that the board authorize IHCDA's Deputy Executive Director and Chief Real Estate Development Officer to take all necessary actions to distribute additional allocations of Housing Trust Fund and Development Fund to existing projects negatively impacted by cost increases in accordance with the approved policies, provided that the board is informed of all awards made monthly as recommended by staff.
Thank you. Board, we have recommendations before us. I will entertain a motion.
Andy, place motion for approval.
Thank you, Andy. We have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. We'll take a roll call. Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell. Aye. J. June Midkiff. Aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Aye. Andy, thank you. Hearing no opposed, the motion passes. Peter, here's you again, I think.
Yes.
Peter will present now a recommendation regarding bond volume / 4% credits, Carriage House, Kendallville.
Yes, thanks. So Carriage House Kendallville was a bond application that was submitted to us under the 2021 application round. So it was submitted in the 2021 calendar year. It was the 20th application that we received and reviewed under that round. And it represents a total development cost of just over $16 million. They're requesting $9 million in bond volume and $565,183 in LIHTC annually for 10 years, preserving 150 units of affordable housing. So this development is by the G&B Company, and they are proposing the rehab of 150 units in Kendallville. So this project is one bedroom garden style units, 2 and 3 bedroom townhome style units across 18 total buildings. The scope of rehab is pretty extensive on this. So exterior, they're doing siding, windows, roofs. They're also replacing systems such as the HVAC system. And then interior, they are replacing and upgrading cabinets, appliances, plumbing, and fixtures. This project is located within a mile from multiple local amenities, including a grocery store, a trade school, if residents want to take advantage of that, and then numerous retail shopping centers, and then a pharmacy as well. So a nice mix of community amenities. This project was reviewed under the 2022 qualified allocation plan by staff to ensure it met the criteria set forth in that document. And then reviewing that, we had no concerns with the project and fully recommend the bond volume and tax credit allocation to this project. I will also add this project does have a rental assistance contract on it, and they will continue with that. So all of the units will have some rental assistance as well, outside of IHCDA funds going into this. So I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Questions for Peter?
I have one. Actually, we'll probably address what's coming up too. Just talk for a moment about the key performance indicators.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just really during each year have kind of taken a look at what we're doing as far as bond volume. Bond volume is, something we're awarding more and more of each year. Right now we're doing okay, but we're getting to a point where we might want to make bond volume competitive. So in tracking this, we're kind of seeing what's coming in, what are we doing with the bond volume, what types of developments. So you can see a lot of rehab, a lot of family developments. And so we're kind of seeing like, if we were to make that go competitive, what should be our focus? Where could we, kind of get the most bang for our buck per se? And then we're also trying to gauge where are these developments going into. I think mostly you'll see these developments are going into the larger cities. So is there anything around that we could do? So really we're just kind of tracking all this to, if we do have to go that way and make that policy, how can we best allocate this bond volume in the future?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any additional questions? All right, Peter, we are ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approves the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $9 million in bond volume and $565,183 in annual LIHTC to Carriage House Kendallville LP for Carriage House Kendallville according to the terms of the 2021 AD application round as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
So moved, Mark Pasco.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, June Midkiff.
Thank you. I have will now take a roll call. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell.
Aye.
J. June Midkiff. Aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. Alan, are we done? Oh, Alan, thank you. I mean, Peter. Oh,
It's fine.
my
I was up
little
there a
note
lot.
said Alan. First time sharing. Thank you for your grace. Now we will welcome Megan Bowman to present on bond volume, 4% credits, Beechwood Court.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Megan Bowman. I'm a Rent Public Access Specialist. The first presentation I have for you this morning is on Beechwood Court, which is the 16th application reviewed and received by staff in the 2021 AV round. The development represents a total cost of $19,987,176. The applicant, Southern Indiana Community Housing Corporation, requested just over $8.7 million bond volume and $876,204 in annual low-income housing tax credits for 10 years. Beechwood Court will be built in New Albany, Indiana, on the vacant land of an existing public housing site, which is demolished to replace with brand new units and a mix of single-family detached homes, duplexes, single-family duplex combos, and 1 3-story multifamily. There will be units with 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms across the development. All 83 units will be available for households earning up to 60% of the area median income. Additional amenities being added to the development include a fully accessible park, picnic shelters, commercial-grade playground, and an accessible community garden. During the round, real estate department staff reviewed the application to ensure it met the criteria set forth in the unit operation plan. And I would be happy to take any questions that you have at this time.
Board, do we have any questions for Megan?
I just have a comment. I don't see a lot of 4-bedroom units, so that's nice. A couple of them.
Okay, Megan, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding $8,770,000 in bond volume and $876,204 in annual lifetime to Beechwood Court LLC for Beechwood Court according to the terms of the 2021 AV application round as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution, of course. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, move to approve the nomination.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. I will take a roll call. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella.
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell.
Aye.
J. June Midkiff. Aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
An aye from Andy. No one opposed. The motion passes. Megan, interested to stay, yes.
You're almost done with those real estate.
Megan's here to present on bond volume / 4% credits for Barrington Village.
Thank you. The 15th application received and reviewed in our 2021 AV tax exempt bond round was submitted by Millennia Housing Developments Limited, who is planning rehabilitation of Stone Key Apartments in the southeastern Indianapolis's Barrington neighborhood. The application represented a total development cost of just over $36 million, and significant improvements to the property are needed to maintain safe, affordable housing for existing and future tenants. Planned rehabilitation for the property includes, but is not limited to, new kitchens, bathrooms, appliances, and flooring in each unit, site security, drainage, social services programming, and a new community building. Upon completion, 172 units will be preserved for households earning up to 30%, 50%, and 60% of the area median income. The developer has requested $30 million in bond volume and $1,500,080 in low-income housing tax credits for 10 years. You may find further details in Exhibit A sheet. During the round, real estate staff reviewed the application to ensure it met the criteria set forth in the 2022 QAP, and I'd be happy to take any other questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Megan? Okay, Hearing none, Megan, we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve awarding 30 million in bond volume and $1,506,088 in annual low-income housing tax credits to Lucky Heights, Indiana, TC, LP for Barrington Village, according to the terms of the 2021 AB application round as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mark Pascarella, second.
Motion and a second. I will now take the roll. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell, aye. J. June Midkiff, aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Hearing an aye from Andy, we have no one opposed. The motion passes. Thank you, Megan. Okay. Rich, please welcome Rich Harcourt to present a recommendation on single-family mortgage revenue bonds, 2022 Series B.
Madam Chair, the board is here. As you'll recall, we routinely go into the marketplace, sell bonds to finance our single-family mortgage activities and our single-family bond resolution. So today we are back in front of you requesting approval for Series 2022D, this is the next issuance of the year. We are requesting approval to issue up to $200 million worth of bonds, although I suspect the issuance will be closer to 125 million. The difference between the two is some flexibility in affording us the opportunity to refund bonds if a rate scenario allows for it, or if demand continues to skyrocket, increase that off in the bids. But suffice it to say, it will probably be $125 million issuance, which will be issued as tax exempt and hopefully a fixed rate offering that we have been doing traditionally over the last number of years. Of course, if we were to issue any variable rate debt, or we would then add to that in a refunding way, we would consider any kind of tax within that issue. We worked with our partners at IFA to make sure they were aware of what we were doing and the underlying strategy around it. So with all that, staff recommends that the board approve the issuance of Series 2022D and the related bond documents and disclosure documents in substantially the final form as presented. Take questions.
Board, do you have any questions for Rich?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I'm going to ask you to go on Rich out of IFA and talk about what the plans are. So we always appreciate that coordination. So everything that he explained, it's proper, it sounds good, but again, he is reaching out talking.
Great, thank you. All right. Rich, we are ready for your resolution.
Thank you, Mark. It's always good to have a second set of eyes on you. We appreciate it. Staff respectfully request the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the issuance of the 2022 Series B bonds, related bond documents, and disclosure documents as in the substantially final form presented, and authorize any authorized officer to execute the same as recommended by staff.
Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mark Pascarella.
Excellent. We will now, we have a motion and a second. I will now call the roll. Ann Valentine, aye. Mark Pascarella,
Aye.
Kelly Mitchell, aye. J. June Midkiff, aye. Andy Place Senior.
Aye.
Hearing an aye. Hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
And now, Executive Director, I will provide an executive update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of quick updates on a few of our programs that we have, my housing stability programs across our state. The first one is last week, we launched the Indiana Homeownership Assistance Fund. Since we've launched it, we've got just over 1,400 applications that we're currently processing. And those are coming in from all over the state, except for Fort County. We have an application submitted. I'm sure that's just a matter of time before we get an application for. I should say, as of this morning, actually, I learned we have 2 applications that have been approved, and we're ready to make payments next week. We'll went out for 2 of those applications. applications that we've already processed. So of those applications, homeowners do have the opportunity to identify if they would like to have housing counseling. And I'm really proud that right now, 80% of those applications are going through and being assigned to housing counseling agencies across our state. We have the Homeownership network, which is a great partnership that we have with a series of certified counselors to work with homeowners on a variety of different things, not just their application, but how to work with their mortgage loan servicer, budgeting, whatever the need might be for that household. So I'm really proud that we have that. We also have over 80 lenders and mortgage loan servicers signed up for the program. That's really helpful for us to help us process these applications so that we can make that assistance in those payments to those mortgage loan servicers as quickly as possible. So in total, it's just under 168 million is what we have available in assistance. We're also working on a public-facing interactive dashboard that the public can see the applications, the number of applications we've had processed, how much assistance has gone out. So really working on trying to be have a nice dashboard for the public to see it as the program. So the other program that we have is the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We've assisted over 21,000 renters across the state. In total, it's just under 270 million of assistance has been paid out. And so those continue to come in. We have really strong applications with those as well. We have continue to post a weekly report that breaks down the number of applications households we've assisted and how much for rent and utilities. Because utilities is also a piece that we can provide assistance for. And we post that every week on our website as well, so that so the folks can see where those dollars are going in what communities, what counties across our state. So, Energy Assistance Program is we have our regular allocation, which is about 70 million, and then this year we received an additional 114 million for energy assistance. We serve just over 86,000 people. And this is through a network of local service agencies across our state that cover all 92 counties. So 28,000 households have also received what we call a crisis benefit. So they've had that notice of disconnect. So those assisted just over 28,000 folks. So in terms of obligating the dollars of the 184, we're just over 87 million has been obligated in terms of the dollars. So that represents about 47, 48%. So those are the three updates on three of our programs that I know a lot of folks, Hoosiers across the state, are interested in, especially as we focus on promoting housing stability, specifically for our low and moderate income Hoosiers. So, and we encourage anyone, if they have housing instability related to the rent payments, or their mortgage payments, or their utility payments, to please reach out to us or their local service agency, and we get an application. The other thing I want to mention, I'm really proud of, is Daniela Jordan Gonzalez on our team. She's our HMIS, which is our Homeless Management Information System data analyst. In 2020, Lieutenant Governor Crouch appointed her to the Indiana Commission on Hispanic and Latino Affairs, and she served on that commission since 2020. Last year, she was the secretary, and then just recently, she was appointed the chairwoman for IHCDA. So really proud for her leadership. And not only she shows here at IHCDA, but outside of IHCDA, representing the Hispanic and Latino community on this commission. So she's really proud of the work that she does. And we're very fortunate to have someone like Daniela here at IHCDA. So I just want to congratulate her and acknowledge the great work that she does. So, the other thing I just want to mention before I turn back here, April 11th, we have our audit committee meeting. DKD is our auditing firm, is our single audit. year. They're wrapping up that audit, and we have an audit committee within the board. We're set to meet on April 11th at 11:30 Eastern time, so that the committee can prep the audit committee. And they will be presenting their audit to the board at our April 28th board meeting, which will be 10 a.m. And I think we're planning to have it in person again here at IHCDA on April 28th. So I'm sure that's my update for March.
Okay. Board, do you have any questions for Jake?
Great update. Congratulations to Danielle.
Is there any other business? Hearing no other business, this meeting is adjourned at 10:52. Thank you.